up, guys? Welcome back to Breaking Takes, the final ride
Welcome.
in its current form.
Yeah.
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 So for people who haven't been listening to Breaking Takes for, more than 5 or 6 weeks, you wouldn't know that we started out recording almost every single episode in person, like after the first couple, and then
Mhm.
Sam has went through some career changes where we're moving cities, life,
Career, life. I've gone
relationships.
through a
Yeah.
metamorphosis.
You've really just this show.
Every change that
Yeah.
could
It's
happen happened to me in about a
from
6-month
episode
time
1 to
period.
61 is just a beautiful transformation of the human being
Wow.
that Sam has become today. And
Yes.
because of those changes, we are not in the same city anymore, and so we have been recording remote for a while, and we just decided, like, hey, we started this, it was supposed to be, in person, and because of these changes, the remote aspect just it's tough to get up the enthusiasm for an indefinite
Yeah.
remote period where you're not really sure what's going to happen.
Yeah. When
When will
will
we
we
see
see
each
each
other?
other
Yes.
again?
Who?
When will I touch the flesh of this beautiful man in
Yeah.
front of me again? Like, I can't keep looking at you every week, Zach, and not know the answer to
Yeah,
that question.
and
It
that's how,
pains
if
me.
you're a fan of the show, we would start every in-person episode by just caressing each other's cheeks for the first 5 minutes, and we
Yeah.
wouldn't even say a word. We would just
Mhm.
breathe heavily into the
Uh-uh.
microphone, and then we would eventually,
Yeah.
whoever said the first word would have to put their pants back on, and then we'd start the episode.
Yeah, that's actually it, and I miss that. I think about that all the time. But yeah, that's just the way life goes sometimes. So I'm home in Maryland, and that's just kind of the decision that we made. But we're still
Yes,
homies.
we are.
So we're not disappearing off the face of the earth,
We're
and that's a good thing. So you might hear from
Yeah,
me in
we're
the
already
future.
planning, future snowboarding trips. If
Yes,
if I decide to do solo episodes, Sam will be a guest on future
a little
episodes.
guest
Just hop
star.
in and give us
Yeah.
the full breakdown. And yeah, she has a modern mullet right now that you can't fully see with the headphones
Yes.
on. But that's just an example of one revelation that Sam could bring in the future, where she's like, "Hey, this
Mhm.
is my new haircut. This is
Hey,
this is
guys.
my new dog whose cheek I caress."
I got a
Yeah,
new tattoo, a
yeah.
new
New
haircut.
tattoo. Did you get a new tattoo?
I've gotten some new
Also?
stuff. Yeah, I just got a new tattoo
Wow.
on
Tell me
Sunday.
about that. What does it look like?
It is posted up on the gram, although I know that the algorithm is terrible, so if my gorgeous face isn't in a picture, like, nobody
That's
sees
true.
it. And it's because it's just a little snapshot of my leg. I got a Here, let's see, I can maybe hold it up to
Yeah.
the camera, but, yeah, I got a harpy on my front
A
thigh.
harpy.
My right thigh, yeah, so a harpy is like a Greek mythological
Mm,
creature. Um, I feel connected to a harpy because they're known as, like, the personification of windstorms, and I'm an air
mm.
sign, and I just feel connected to the wind, and also I just dig a harpy. So, a lot of people know what a siren is in, like, folklore, which is, like, kind of a seductive, like, mermaid type creature, even though I don't even think it's a mermaid, but, like, that lures
Yeah.
people in. Um, a harpy is in the same kind of realm, but they don't waste their time with seduction. They just come in hot
They just
and rip
snatch
your
you
head
up.
off.
There's no intro
Yeah.
song.
Exactly. So I just felt like that was cool, and I was just itching for something new. I mean, I'll be the first to say that sometimes when you get broken up with, you need to just shave your head or get a
Yeah.
new tattoo. And so that's what I did. And so here, let's see.
Wow.
There we go.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, so it's about 6 inches
Yeah.
maybe long. I set for like 6 hours because my tattoo artist, shout out to Austin Gazal. at Love Struck Tattoo in Annapolis. He's like been my friend since we were just kids working at a bar together when we were like 21. So he's super, super talented, and I'm just happy to have a friend do this art and put so much love and effort into it. So yeah, I was there for a long time, and he probably could have kept going if it wasn't like
Yeah.
9:30 at night. By the and we were like,
Yeah,
we
he's
have to
just
go
falling
home.
asleep, like,
Um,
the buzzing's just, like, going on and off in your leg, just like, "Oh, shit, my bad."
yeah, he wouldn't sleep though, because that's the type of guy he is. But he's such a perfectionist that, he notices minor things that the average person is gonna look at and be like, "This is great."
Yeah.
But any artist knows no project is ever complete.
And it's also a
So,
great warning sign for other girls that you happen to date or hook up with, because if you do end up ripping their heads off in a metaphorical
yeah,
sense, you could say, "Well, I mean, you saw the tattoo,
I
didn't you knew I came
it's
in like
right
a
there.
windstorm and I just fucked
You
shit
shoulda
up.
looked it
You should have looked
up.
up the meaning of a heartbeat on
Yeah.
our first encounter. So, don't cry to me now,
Mhm.
bitch, because you were warned."
You know what? Yeah. I like to be like a walking
Yeah.
warning sign. That's exactly what I like to give off to
Yeah.
women I
And look,
date.
I'm with you there. A lot of people people say red flags, warning signs, because everyone
Yeah.
has red flags, but like people try to hide their warning
Mhm.
signs, whatever you want to call it. I'm all for just getting it tattooed on your leg or your forehead, wherever it is, just like a checklist of this is what you have to do.
Oh, yeah, you don't have any
I
tattoos,
don't, but I
right?
do have warning signs, which means that I've
Sure do.
unfairly hooked people in without giving them
Yeah.
a proper warning.
That's right. You need to get your, cuck
Yeah.
tattoo
I just
because, like, you can't be going around life
yeah,
without
I
that
need to
warning.
let women know that, our first sexual encounter will be you with another large black man, and I'll be sitting in a chair in a hotel watching it happen as the cuckold.
Yeah.
That's how I roll, and if you're not good with that,
Mhm.
then, you should have taken the tattoo more
Gotta
seriously.
go.
When I had "cuck"
Yeah.
tattooed across my chest with a spread eagle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You should have, been warned. But
Shoulda
yeah, I'm
believed
gonna
that.
I'm gonna pour out a shot for breaking takes.
Yeah, we're pouring out. I cracked a Millie Light. I haven't been drinking a lot recently. Um, and by recently, I mean like 2 weeks, the
That's pretty
last
good. It's
2
like a
weeks.
dry half February. That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's more than me.
Now
Yeah.
before that, I can't say I had a dry January because I sure didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't. I cracked open a Millie so we could cheers through the camera. Cheers to all the
Thanks for
listeners.
riding with us,
And yeah,
all you
thanks for
listeners
going
out
on
there.
this journey of break and takes. Yep. Now, sir, what was that? Whiskey?
Japanese whiskey, and I got the,
Okay.
kimono on because it's a little bit chilly in the apartment.
Oh, great. See, I have my robe on. And look, I got a bustling fire behind
Wow.
me. And I'm still chilly, but I mean, I don't know what it is in New York. I can imagine it's about the same because down here it is
Yeah.
fucking cold. It is cold as shit. It is brick outside. It is
It's
like 4
cold,
degrees.
it's windy. I mean, that's, like,
Yes, it's
everyone,
terrible.
they like to talk about cultural appropriation until you actually do it and you put on the kimono and you're like, "This is the perfect amount of warmth." Yeah.
So
This
you
is the
do it.
perfect amount of the kimono, it's not like a jacket where it just, like,
Yeah.
closes the seal off. You get as much warmth as you want. You could close it.
Come on. Are we culturally appropriating by wearing a
I'm
kimono?
1.8% Japanese.
I like them. I
Yeah.
think they're sexy.
No,
Are you
I'm
really?
not.
Did you do a
My
23 and
dad
me?
did.
Okay, I was gonna say,
My
I mean,
My dad
and
so
is
my
he
dad we haven't talked about this because this happened, after the last,
for Christmas?
episode we recorded.
Okay, great.
So
I wanna
we were
know.
all home, for holiday break, and my dad,
Yeah.
my whole life, he has told me, my brothers, and my mom that he is almost all German. There might be some other, Eastern Bloc / Scandinavian countries
Mhm.
thrown in there, but he's like, "You're German." My mom's mostly Italian. I've been walking around my entire life thinking I'm like half German, half Italian with some other things mixed in there. My
Okay.
dad does the 23andMe a year and a half ago. So, a year and a
Okay.
half ago, he found out that he had a half sister that he didn't know about.
Oh,
And so that
interesting.
became the big spectacle from the test. He kind of forgot about the results. No one
Mhm.
ever asked him about it.
Okay, yeah,
And he
I
like
can
his
get
half
that.
sister messaged him when you match with someone on 23andMe, you get a layout of possible relatives.
Yep.
So she actually reached out to him. Then a year and a half later, we're just like we're talking about the possible relatives on 23andMe because there's a whole breakdown of like it goes from high percentage to low percentage.
It's kinda crazy how many people you're related to by, like,
Yeah, it's a
3%
lot.
or under. Because you never know. You don't know
Yeah.
these people. And, like, you could, in theory,
Yeah,
easily
if
date
you
them
you could
because 'cause you've never seen them before. Like, I've never seen these
and
people in my
and
fucking
and I
life
have heard
or
that
heard
there
of
are
them.
some countries now who do mandatory genetic testing or 23andMe
Because 'cause they're like,
to
"Everybody's
avoid
getting too fucking
to
weird
avoid
around
marrying your
here."
cousin. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting a little
Yeah.
too
Oh,
inbred, if
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We gotta space
Oh,
it
yeah,
out a little
getting a little
bit.
too cornbread, but, my dad he had it out, like, we were looking on the laptop, and then he rolls up to the genetic part of it, and I go, "Dad, this says you're 98% Eastern Ukrainian," and he
Oh,
goes,
shit,
"Oh, yeah,
okay.
I forgot to tell you guys, we're not German,
You kinda look
we're
Ukrainian. I
We're
see that
90
now.
he's 98% Ukrainian, which makes me about half Ukrainian and
Yeah.
2% Senegalese. So, like, Senegal in Africa.
Hell yeah.
So
That's
my
amazing.
first thought is
Wow.
like, "Holy shit, my entire German identity." Not that I walked around telling people I'm German, but if people ask,
Yeah.
I'd say I think I'm half Italian, half German, and their response would
Yeah.
always be, "You don't look Italian at all. You look 100% German." And I'd be like, "Yeah, I guess maybe the Italian didn't get picked up." But it turns out I'm not German at all. I am Ukrainian, which
Yeah.
kind of makes sense because during the world wars, that geography was getting cut up. So I think at one point, like some of
Mhm.
Germany was in Ukraine and some of Ukraine was where modern day
Yeah.
Germany is, but it's 98% Ukrainian, like 1.8%
Wow.
Senegalese. So the first thing I thought was like, holy fuck, I'm Ukrainian. The second thing I thought was like, I could have leveraged this so much more when people were putting the Ukrainian flag in their bios. I could have.
You really could have. Like, you kinda missed out, like, big time. Like, you just realized you're Ukrainian, and they've had,
Yeah.
like, the biggest war going on for years now. You kinda missed out, like, being a part of your
Everyone has
community.
forgotten about the Ukrainians with Israel Hamas, so I missed that window and I have to
Yeah.
apologize to you because when we started this podcast, I could have marketed it as like a Ukrainian like a Ukrainian produced podcast when the war was still hot. Could have put
Wow.
the
Oh
flag in
my
my bio. Could
god.
have it said like
What?
like a sent a message out to my Ukrainian brothers and
We
sisters.
coulda had President
Yeah,
Zelensky on the podcast,
and
is what
yeah,
you're
so
saying.
I could have become a Ukrainian shill, and I miss that opportunity to financially
That's
capitalize
okay.
on the suffering of millions of people, and
Yeah, that is
I miss
unfortunate.
that boat. So I just have to hope that maybe it'll come back around.
Maybe there's a Senegalese war will happen and you can,
I
put up a little flag because I mean, you might be
Yeah.
0.1%. It coulda
That's
trickled down
true.
to
I mean,
you.
I need to go find my Senegalese brothers and sisters where,
Yes.
I don't even know how I don't
How
even
does
know
that
how a Ukrainian would
happen?
bang someone from Senegal like 150 years ago.
Right? I'm, like, looking
Yeah.
up Senegal right now. So it is in
Yeah.
West Africa. Um, let's see what tourism is like. let's see.
Yeah,
Tourism.
maybe there's just like a big expat Ukrainian community in Senegal that we just wouldn't know about. But somewhere along the line, my great 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 Ukrainian grandfather
Yeah.
visited
I'm
a
not
tribal
sure how that
village and thought
happened.
that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I'm going to just stay here while the rest of my family goes back to Ukraine, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't wanna assume that it was from
That would
slavery.
also be
That would be probably the
yeah.
most
That,
logical thing, because I do believe a lot of West Africa was, like, shipped
yeah, no.
this way or in the
Chances are it
hemisphere.
probably was, but there's a
Uh,
romantic
but there's a chance there was a love
there's a
story here.
fictionalized version of this that we could
Yeah.
spin for podcast downloads. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. There's some beautiful women on these
Yeah.
Senegalese
Oh,
tourist
yeah. I've seen
brochures,
National Geographic.
so, you know what? I
Yeah.
believe in love.
So that is I forgot how we got on to uh the
Yeah.
topic, but yes, apparently I am pretty much half Ukrainian and you know,
Wow. That's just actually interesting because I'm German. I am like, I mean, I'm primarily British Irish, but I am German in my 23andMe as well. That's the second next biggest percentage. Um so yeah, and looking at you, like we have similar attributes, but if you look up President Zelensky and then I look at you,
you're saying I could be
I'm
Zelensky's
like,
son? I could
yeah.
be.
I mean, I think you could. Like you guys kind of I mean, but it's like the eyes and the nose. That's where I'm like
Does
you're Ukrainian. It's the
does
eyes and the
Ukraine have a
nose.
monarchy? Could I be in line for the throne? If like 47 people die?
I don't bring this up now because they might put you straight
Yeah.
into battle,
Yeah, that's
okay?
true.
So bring it up later.
That's true. I mean, who knows? Maybe my mom says we're Italian. Maybe she's mostly Russian.
Yeah,
Maybe
is
she's
she
mostly
right?
Russian, and then like
Yeah,
I'm half
right?
Russian, half Ukrainian, so they can't decide which side to send me to. So then I can't go at
Wow.
all. I just I have to stay here.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't trust that I'm
Yeah.
Italian now. Who knows what the fuck I am?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you even know? You need to have your mom do one, or you
Yeah,
should just do
I
one
sh-
so you
I
can figure it
should. I should
out.
just bite the bullet and do one and just, go on a world tour of seeing my Ukrainian
Mhm.
and Senegalese brothers and sisters and reuniting and telling them like,
Yeah.
"Look, I
Wow,
know
that's beautiful.
I'm the palest man you've ever seen, this close to the equator, but I'm telling you, one of you is my cousin.
You, like,
One of
scare
you is
them
my
all.
cousin."
They're,
Yeah.
"Ah!" You walk out
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah, I
"Ah,
go
my
I go 5
eyes."
years from now when the film Nosferatu just made it to Senegal, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's the vampire guy.
Ah.
Someone get the
Uh,
cross. Is there garlic in Senegal?
yeah,
Get it."
seriously. Or where's just one horny bitch for
Yeah.
you to hook up
Yeah.
with?
Where's my s
Because that's about the
Yeah,
plot of
someone
that
find my
movie.
Senegalese Lily Rose Depp. Bring her to me.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that movie, and I did enjoy
Yeah.
it. I mean, did
I
you
so
see
I actually watched the
Nosferatu?
original for a film class, almost a decade ago,
Yes.
but I have not seen the new one.
Okay. Yeah, well, the new one is really similar to the original because the story
Yeah.
is the story. So, it doesn't really change that much, but it is really beautifully done. I think, like, you have to appreciate art to appreciate the new movie, because it's not really, like,
Yeah.
scary or anything. It's a horror story that was written, like, hundreds of years ago, so it's like, it's not even scary, but it was well acted, the costumes were dope, the scenic views were beautiful, it was a pretty good
Sometimes you just
movie.
gotta watch a movie to appreciate it, and I
Yeah, like the construction of it. I'm such like a nerd when it comes to that. Just the acting, the costuming, the makeup, why they chose this
Yeah.
wide shot. Like, all that's
Yeah,
so
I
cool to
I
me.
can I can identify with that because 'cause I'll watch movies a lot with my dad who loves getting his face blown off by war/action movies. So if there's not an
Gotcha.
explosion happening on screen every 47 seconds, he checks out immediately. He goes, "This is the worst film I've ever
Yeah.
seen."
See, it's funny how I feel like a lot of men are like that, and then for me, I check out immediately when there are a bunch of
Yeah.
explosions. Like, I'm like, "Okay, that's it." Like,
I
where's the
I like a
plot?
good mix. I love a plot. Like one of my favorite movies ever is Sicario with Emily Blunt and fuck, I'm blanking out on
Ario.
Which if you've never seen this movie, it needs to be the next
I've
movie you
never.
watch. Benicio del Toro,
Okay. It has good reviews, 92% on
Benicio del
Rotten
Toro and
Tomatoes.
Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro is like a fucking just a dark, soulless but beautiful assassin in this movie. And then Emily
Okay.
Blunt is a total badass.
Yeah, I
There's
love
only
Emily
2
Blunt.
movies that Emily Blunt has ever been in where she's a lead in an action film. If you're not counting A Quiet Place, which I don't really count, uh,
I would put that it's a
horror, but
horror movie,
she
so
was in
I
The
wouldn't put
Edge
it
of
in
Tomorrow with
action,
Tom
but
Cruise and Sicario, and she is so fucking good in both of those that if she wanted to just
yeah.
become one of the biggest action stars on the planet, she could. But Sicario is it's unbelievable. It has
Would you consider The Jungle Cruise an action
she,
movie?
she
She was in a Jungle Cruise with, The Rock.
I mean, I guess technically if The Rock's in it, it has to be action because has The
Eh,
Rock ever done a
right?
non-action movie?
You're right. Yeah, that is I mean, it's action
Yeah,
kids
didn't he
movies
played a tooth
combined.
fairy and it was still an action movie somehow. So,
Yes, yes,
but yeah, Emily
yeah.
Blunt, Sicario, it's just a great combination of people just getting lit the fuck up, explosions, but also
Nice.
the suspense storyline of what's going to happen and it ends just so fucked up and perfectly. It's one of my it's a
Okay.
I I will this is not an exaggeration. Sicario is a top 3 movie for me.
Okay, I'll definitely watch it because I am just a review junkie. So for me, all I care is that it's
Yeah.
fresh. It's like it's gotta be better than 60% fresh, people. I'm not watching I mean, I might watch a 60% fresh movie, but I'm not gonna expect
Yeah.
it to be good. It's gotta be, like, at least 77 up, and Cesario was coming in at, like, 91, fresh, and then, like, 85 fresh from, like,
Yeah.
regular people reviews, so it
Yeah,
must be
not
pretty
to be
good.
confused with
And when did
Sicario
that come out?
2, which I don't think
2015?
has Emily Blunt or
Okay, there's a
Benicio
follow-up.
yeah, but Sicario, the first one, is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Definitely check it out.
Okay, okay, let's see. It says here after rising through the ranks of her male dominated profession, idealistic FBI agent Kate Masser receives a top assignment. Recruited by mysterious government official Matt Graver, Kate joins a task force for the escalating war against drugs. Led by the intense and shadowy Alejandro, the team travels back and forth across the US Mexican border using one cartel boss to flush out a
Yeah.
bigger one. Okay, so I'm getting kinda like Breaking Bad. There's drugs, there's cartel, there's action.
Yeah, and you don't really know who the
Alright.
good guys and the bad guys are, or so you think. So,
Yeah,
it's a good little, if you like action, but you also like storyline, it's a
I do.
good little
I need a
film. And, you know,
storyline.
speaking of storylines, because this wouldn't be,
Okay.
the Breaking Takes finale if we didn't at least get into, one controversial story.
Let's get into one controversial
Someone
story,
whose
sure.
storyline has changed a lot in the last few years is Kanye West.
Okay.
He,
Oh
I
my
don't know if you saw
gosh.
his Super Bowl ad.
Oh, actually, I didn't. I did watch the Super Bowl, but to be honest, I found the Super Bowl, apart from the halftime show, boring as fuck. I mean, the game sucked.
It was over at
because
halftime.
like,
Yeah.
it was yeah, like, it was a total blowout, which I'm happy. I did want the Eagles to win once my beloved Ravens decided to drop the ball, literally. Mark Andrews, haven't forgotten. Um,
R.I.P. Never
but
forget.
yeah, well, never forget the ball yeah, RIP to our hopes
Yeah.
and dreams of the Super Bowl. But still shout out Mark Andrews, he's been a great player for us. But, yeah, so I wanted the Chiefs to lose, and they did, but it was, like, the most boring game to the point that I wasn't even paying attention during the game, and so I was totally gone
Yeah.
during the
Commer
commercials. I didn't see a single
commercials,
commercial.
I'll say the
Usually, I watch
commercial
them.
the commercials as a whole, I thought were pretty poor, and then there was one
Yeah.
that was kind of uplifting.
The only one I remember is the
The
Snoop Dogg one with, like, Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady and
Yeah,
Snoop
yeah,
Dogg? That's it.
that was it was just like hate like,
'Cause
don't
that was
hate.
a positive
Yeah,
one. Yeah, it was like, "Don't hate each other," like and I'm like, "Okay, that's the only one that I paid any
yeah,
attention
and
to."
I remember that one. I remember the only other one I remember is, like, people sort of, like, shaking hands and going over to where, like, helping someone on the street, and I'm like, "Alright, let's see where this goes."
Okay.
And then like
Mm.
something else happens where a kid trips on the sidewalk and someone helps him up, and then there's another person who's looking for food and someone drops him a dollar. I'm like, all right, this pretty positive. And then across the screen it just goes, Jesus, God,
Oh, yeah,
God
there were a
calm or
lot of
whatever. I'm
Jesus
just
I
like,
did
was like, I didn't know you could just advertise for Jesus. That
I'm being so honest and sorry to Jesus and everybody who loves him, but I flip off the TV every time I see one of those
it's
commercials. Because I'm so mad that churches don't pay fucking taxes and they have all this fucking money. Like some of these weirdo preachers that are on TV are like mega
yeah,
millionaires. And they just, so of course they can fucking afford multiple
yeah,
commercials during the Super
yeah.
Bowl.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
a
I
more
hate that.
realistic version of that commercial would be an altar boy walking into the back of the church and going, "Father, you asked to see me," and then the door closes behind him, and then
Yeah,
flashes 10 years forward, and he's in therapy, and he's like, "I've never told anyone this before, but I used to be an altar
exactly.
boy." And then it flashes 10 more years forward, and then it's the priest getting arrested at his home, and it's just like, Jesus,
Right? I
God.com.
wish like and if that was ran during the Super Bowl, it would be all the talk and like President Trump would have had an aneurysm about it and it just would have and
Yeah.
even though it's true.
So
But
yeah,
here we are.
Kanye ran a Super Bowl ad, which I'm gonna play since
Okay.
you didn't see it. I Apparently it was
No.
one of those local commercials where it only played in certain states. I didn't get it in
Okay.
Vermont. At least I don't think I did because I was up in
Okay.
Vermont during the Super Bowl. But this story comes from Variety. It's called "How Kanye West Landed a Super Bowl Ad and Then Used It to Sell Swastika T-shirts after
Yes, I
after it
do know the
aired."
shirt.
Kanye West Yeezy.com advertisement during Sunday night's Super Bowl stunned viewers with its bizarre vibe. But then what happened next shocked the station execs who ran it and media buyers who approved the spot even more. West immediately flipped the website after the ad aired, replacing its previous content with just one item: a swastika t shirt for sale at $20 each. And I've seen screenshots of the before and after, and he
Mhm.
has just, his regular Yeezy gear where it's like $300 a t shirt,
Yeah.
sneakers, like rips, whatever. And then after the ad rolls, everything is gone, and it's just a single white T-shirt with a black swastika on it for
Yep.
$20. And I was thinking, like, for diehard Kanye fans, for just like the absolute diehard Kanye fans, where they're like, I don't give a fuck what he says. He's a genius. He's a god. Whatever he does, there's some sort of genius behind it. this had to have made a lot of diehard Kanye fans pause be because
You would
it's a
hope.
swastika, but it's also the most affordable item in the Yeezy store.
I figured. So I'm like, ah,
'Cause
$20
there are a lot of
t-shirt.
Yeezy fans.
He was probably offering free
Yeah.
shipping too.
There were a lot of Kanye fans that were like, "Dude, I got a family, like, I can't afford to buy a
I want some
$300
merch
T-shirt,"
real
and they
bad.
have the notifications set on Yeezy.com. If it gets below a certain price, and then finally they get that push notification, and it's 20 bucks, and they open it, and it's a swastika, and they're like, "Ah, shit.
Should
Damn it.
I?
There's never
Shouldn't
gonna be a
I?
shirt this cheap again on Yeezy.com." But it is a swastika. Do
Oh
I
my
care
gosh.
more about, the massacre of mass millions of people or
Mhm.
getting a sweet deal on a T-shirt? I'm gonna have to think about this for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy that he's selling shirts with how is that even legal? Like, I wonder how that's legal, and, like, people get arrested for dumber shit in this country, and he's, like, literally making, like, hate
Yeah,
attire, you know? Hateful attire that is
yeah.
anti-Semitic. It's
See, I would
insane
think
to
that's the
me.
type of merch that you'd have to sell in person, where you go like, where you go to a
Yeah.
KKK meeting, and then at the end of the meeting, some
Mhm.
guy gets on stage and go, "Hey, I don't know if you guys saw, but we we
Merch
got a
tables
3 for
over
1
there.
discount on the KKK T-shirts in the back in red, blue, and white for
Yep.
our great country of America. If you guys just want I'm gonna finish my speech on what Hitler got right, but before that, I just wanna tell you guys,
Yeah.
we got a sweet discount going on back there, so."
Yep. Yep, you can find them right in between our MAGA hats to the left and our black face mask is on the right.
Yes, yeah.
So, we got
Yeah,
them in
and just if
every
you're
size.
wondering, the black face masks, those are dry, so when you take them off, there will be no black
Yeah.
on your actual face, just in case you were worried about
Yeah.
appearing as an actual black person, you will not have that.
Yeah, that I know
Yeah,
that's scary.
yeah,
That's
let
frightening
me ease
for
your
some
worries,
individuals.
but yeah,
Yes.
I think he did get, debanked or something with his accounts frozen, something like that.
It was up
It
for a
was.
while. I do know that. I also saw that Hillary Duff's husband, Matthew Coma, who's a
Oh, I've
musician,
heard of that guy. Like electronic
yeah,
music.
I've heard
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yes, exactly. He made shirts that say "fuck yay" on them and was selling them as like a
yeah. Mm,
counteract to
yeah,
Kanye's shirt. So, yep, people are rightfully up in arms about this shit. I mean, it's crazy. I'm weirded out. I'm weirded out in America, y'all.
yeah.
I don't like it here. I'm
It's
scared. There's Nazi shit going
it's
on.
wild stuff. It's wild stuff. And I also just wanna
Yeah.
say, besides just being completely just, like, Hitler loving, Holocaust denial shirts, it's also inconsistent because Kanye throughout the last year and a half where he'll go on like Alex Jones and then just say, like I love Hitler and then he'll go 8 months quiet, release Vultures 2 and then he'll come back and like sells them not.
Yeah.
So like during that time, if you look up past quotes from Kanye, he says that he says I am Jew, like I am Jewish, so I can't say anything bad about Jews.
You're not
But
Jewish.
he says that, and he says, "I am Jew, I am of Jew," and he also says
Right.
Jews love money and are economic engineers
Okay.
who find a way to get the most money out of people. Wouldn't Kanye then, as a Jew, charge more than $20? We
Right. We've caught him. Caught you in a
yeah,
lie.
and
A Jew would never
yeah.
sell this shirt
Yeah,
for
the
that
one thing I
deal.
hate more than Holocaust denial is inconsistency, and this has to stop. I think
Yes.
Kanye West has hit his end here. We've called him out. This is
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, things aren't going great for Ye. He's definitely on another BPD mega
yeah.
episode. And it's just speaking of Ye, then him and his wife at the time I mean, I guess they're still legally married, Bianca Censori. Bianca Censori was not very censored
Mm.
at the, the Grammys where Nikki shout out
Yeah.
Nikki Glaser hosted. She did a fantastic job. Uh, Ye and Bianca weren't even invited and then just showed up, like, naked as fuck with the mink coat
Yeah.
on the red carpet and then,
Yeah.
like, left. And then the Nazi shirts are happening, and then I saw from TMZ that, they're now going through a divorce. They are
Apparently, yeah.
separated. Thank God, I hope. I'm scared, I'm worried for Bianca, like, I don't you know what? Like, a little side rant here, but, like, it is hard. I know I should feel sympathy because, like, I love Julia Fox, who's, like, an
Mm.
ex of Kanye. Um, Julia Fox was awesome, very nice lady, and seems super chill, and, like, it's actually her that makes me try to have some sympathy for Bianca because I typically would not at all. Like, if you're dating somebody like Kanye, you're a fucking idiot, especially, like, post Kim K, because that's really when
Went off
he
the rails. Yeah.
like, his mental deterioration really started to happen. So, I feel like she is complacent and, like, an accomplice to all of his bizarre fucking things, but I do try when I read Julia Fox's book, somewhere in that book, she kinda mentioned, like, she just worries about she didn't name names, but I'm assuming Bianca because of how much damage can be done to somebody in so little time from, like, a
Mm.
narcissistic abuser, and so I'm like, yeah, I he's strutting this girl around naked as
Yeah.
fuck, like, all these years. Like, I'm just, like, worried about her in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, "You're kind of dumb, but also you might just be mentally unwell too." And now, like, you're gonna look back on this and be like, "This guy, like, convinced me to be, like, totally exposed in the
Yeah.
world like
And
that."
look, Kanye, if you go back before his 2023 just implosion when he started saying like the I love Hitler stuff and not like
Yeah.
he was an insanely good hype man and salesman for his own stuff. He basically hype manned
Yeah.
Yeezy into Yeezy. He left Adidas. Everyone thought it was gonna fail. He basically like he does marketing in such a weird, like shadowy, but also attention grabbing way where he's kind of just his own thing that I could see
Mhm.
one on one him just convincing some 24-year-old influencer who like, let's be honest, it's Kanye West. If Kanye West comes up to you, you're gonna be like, "Holy fuck, it's Kanye West," and he has a lot of pull in that situation. He can probably convince you, he could sell it to you where he goes, "All right, listen, this relationship is gonna be me mostly chaining you up in the house unless I need your tits in public, but you're
Yeah.
gonna love it. Trust me, it's gonna be a good time." He could sell that. He could
You're gonna
sell it
love
to
this.
someone who wants the
No,
influence. They
he
have to
could.
want the influencer lifestyle, otherwise, it doesn't
Mhm.
appeal to you because 'cause you're not gaining anything.
Or, I mean, well, I think it's even beyond influencer. He's, pretty well known, obviously, in the music industry, the fashion industry, like, aside from this Nazi shirt, I mean, yeah, he's done other fashion shit. So, I think women that really want to be in that industry, women and men. I'm sure there are men in his life that maybe not romantically or sexually, but I'm sure they're around him because they want to be closer to something in the music industry, fashion industry, film, whatever
Yeah.
it may be. So, yeah. You know what? I just looked up Kanye's height because I suddenly was just like, I think
Is
that
it
motherfucker's
4'11"?
short. He's 5'8",
And
so he's short.
that's
He's shorter than
probably
me.
in reality a 5'6", 5'6" and a half, listed
I
as
would say
5'8".
so. You know what? Because if you're a celeb and you're listed as 5'8", you're
Yeah.
probably not. You wanna know short king? Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah.
5'5". And you know what? He looked good in those fucking
Those little
flared
bell
jeans
bottoms. Yeah.
during the Super Bowl. Oh my God. It's the first thing I said. I said, "Ooh, everything's looking nice in that
Yeah.
chain right there." Everything was hugging all
Oh,
the
yeah.
right spots. And he's just a little man, beat bopping
Just a
around the
little
stage.
man burying Drake in his
And you're like,
grave.
good for him. Yes, and speaking of Drake's act, did you see that video? Is it real or fake? Did you see that video of the drone flying to Drake's like Australian penthouse and he's
No.
like in it and he like threw a sandal
No,
at
I
it?
didn't.
Oh my God, let me
Yeah,
see.
let
Or
me
look it up or I can send you a link. I Is this real? So there was a video obviously after Drake gets murdered
Yeah.
by Kendrick during the Super Bowl, a public execution. But we're all just goofing on Drake now because he is kind of a baby ass bitch. Um, so somebody like flew a drone to his penthouse and obviously was like looking and spying and he saw it and like throws
Yeah.
a sandal at it and it's like the world's worst throw. Like, don't invite him to throw out
Yeah.
the first pitch at Toronto's next game. Christ, take
Yeah.
somebody's head off like that.
He's got a good follow through though. 0 out of 10 for aim, but decent follow through.
Yeah, okay. So is this stage? Is Drake's drone video stage? Let's see. Because to me, I believed it, but then I saw another video where they made it as if the drone had a speaker on it and it was playing Not Like Us, like, just to torment Drake, which is so funny to fly a
Yeah.
drone to, like, his
Yeah.
window
He's just sitting
and,
relaxing,
like, just
drinking
playing
some
that
wine, and
song.
he hears "da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na." What the fuck?
Yeah, so that would be hilarious, and so I do hope that it's kinda true, but I don't know,
It says
and it's so hard these days with
it says
AI.
that, people think it was part of a viral marketing campaign for Stake because Drake has been promoting Stake, which
Steak.
is a gambling website, Stake.
I'm here hungry. I'm like, "Oh, what
Yeah,
type?"
yeah, medium rare,
T-bone, porterhouse,
T-bone,
filet mignon,
but
what
yeah,
we
it
got?
says it was apparently a viral marketing campaign for the website Stake, which
Okay.
appeared, on the face of the laptop in the
Yes, you're
video.
right. Okay, I do it says that is confirmed on my article from Forbes as well, that it appears that it was staged and,
And apparently you could
yeah.
see
Okay, makes
the
sense.
drone pilot in the background of the video. Someone zooms in and sees someone standing behind a pillar in the penthouse with something that looks like a
Okay.
remote control, and they think that was the guy operating the drone.
Well, I wish it was real.
Yeah. Just just they
It would've been
clone
a lot
Kendrick
funnier.
Lamar, but they shrink him down to 6 inches tall, and he's just riding on top of the
Now he's
drone.
only instead of 5 feet, 5 inches, he's
Yeah,
just 5 inches.
5.6 inches. He's just riding on top of the drone, doing like the little two-step he did in the beginning of Not Like Us. Da-na-na-na.
Yes.
Drake's like, "Oh my god,
They
he's
not like us.
everywhere."
They not like us.
Um,
Yeah, it's been one of the better beefs I
yeah,
guess we've had in
yeah.
rap world
Do you wanna
recently.
see this Kanye commercial? Because I actually
I
just
would
saw it
love to.
today. I did not see it
Okay.
during the Super Bowl. Let me know when you could see the little live screen on your end. You could
Oh,
see it?
there it
Alright,
is.
let's start from the beginning.
Yep.
This is Kanye West's Super Bowl advertisement.
I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone. Go to easy.com.
Oh, shit, maybe it all didn't,
That was it. That's all the
upload.
money he
That
had
was
for
it,
the
sorry, guys.
commercial.
Spent all the money for the commercial
Just for that. Just for
on
the
that
5
shit.
seconds.
Let me see if I can play
What's
Well,
up,
basically
guys?
that was it. Like he just
That was
it was a
it.
30-second thing
That he
that
filmed
he
with his
filmed.
iPhone, front
I
camera,
apologize,
while
but
he's
yeah,
in the dentist, it
that's 10
appears.
seconds. There's only 30 seconds of the commercial, and at the end, he just goes, go to Yeezy.com. And then he just looks in the camera, and then it's off. But that's literally the whole thing. He goes, "What's up, guys? Go to
Yeah.
Yeezy.com." He says, "I spent all my money on the commercial, so I'm filming on an iPhone again," because apparently he did another big commercial on an iPhone, and that was basically it. And I gotta admit, the first thing I thought when I saw this iPhone commercial, like him just wearing those shades, I was thinking like, did Kanye bring those glasses to the dentist himself? Because you always get like shades when you're going to the dentist.
Yeah.
So did Kanye bring these to the dentist himself? Or does someone like Kanye go to a dentist so cool that this is their like baseline shades that they give you if you're doing dental work? This is the provided dental
Yeah.
wear for your eyes if you go to Kanye's dentist.
Uh, it could be either. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised for him to show up in his own and just be like, I'm keeping these on because nobody's going to tell. If you're Kanye's dentist, you're probably not going to tell Kanye that he can or cannot wear his
No.
own sunnies. Um, but also, he could go to a cool dentist and just have those. I actually, yeah, usually they're bigger, but that's in style. Like the big, bulky, like glasses that look like you're like skiing
Yeah.
goggles almost. Like those are basically the glasses you get at the dentist, but like blacked
Yeah.
out. So, I mean, they're kind of
Yeah.
fashionable
And this
anyways.
cut off from the video, but there's a part at the end where he's saying he goes, um, uh, uh go to
Uh,
Yeezy.com. And he just pauses for way too long, where I thought, did
yeah,
Kanye West make Bianca Censori blow him while he's doing this ad read?
you don't
I
know anymore.
when
We
I
don't
was
know.
watching the end, I was thinking he would do it as just like a sick art piece of having his wife just
And
dome him
exposing us
up
all
during
to
an yeah,
non-consensual
don't
porn.
dome him up during an ad read to 100 million people during the Super Bowl. He just paused for way too long at the end there.
There's just something wrong with him. He just needs medication. Like, I can't. I cannot deal with these unmedicated people wandering around
Yeah,
amongst us. They're unhinged, and I'm
yeah,
tired of them. Get your
mm,
shit together. Take accountability for your life, okay? Take accountability for your actions. Take your
yeah.
fucking
Or
meds.
if you're around Kanye West, just slip some bipolar meds into his drink. Just roofie him. It's not roofing if it shouldn't be illegal to roofie someone who needs medication.
Yeah, agreed. If I gotta crush that
Yeah,
shit up and sprinkle it
put
in
put
somewhere,
it in his
I fucking
Cheerios.
will. He needs it more than anybody.
Yeah.
I'm
So
tired of
this is
him.
just like the last part of the Variety article. It says up until the ad actually ran, the Yeezy.com website featured a Shopify powered store selection of various non branded articles of clothing like t shirts, pants, jackets, nothing that would have been deemed a content issue. And Variety can confirm because this reporter immediately checked the site after the spot aired in Los Angeles. When the ad first ran, the swastika t shirt wasn't there. Within the hour of the ad airing in LA and other
Duped
he
them.
duped
He
them.
duped them.
Within the hour of the ad airing in LA and other markets, West made the switch and users saw the $20 white t-shirt with a swastika on it. At that point, the on-air ad had already run and it was too late. Imagine being the intern responsible for ads and you see the t-shirt with the swastika when you refresh the Yeezy store. and you just yell out in the
Yeah.
office. You're just like, guys, guys, come quick. You
Um,
need to see Kanye's website. Your boss is just like, this better be a real problem. I swear to God, this Super Bowl is on. This better be an actual thing. And you're just like, all right, so you know how we approved Kanye's ad to be shown to 100 million people? The link directs to a website selling Nazi t-shirts. So, what do you
so how do we
Yeah,
feel about
what's the
that?
move? Is there something in the manual?
Yeah. Plan of
I didn't see this in my
action,
onboarding manual. I'm not sure,
mm-mm.
what we should
No.
do, um, but
I'm not surprised, though. I feel like if you take money from Kanye West for an ad, like, you should
yeah.
just know that's something and that is
Yeah,
the ad. Like, you see the ad, and you
yeah.
saw that, and you chose
He
to run that ad and
you
take his
should
money.
know
Come on.
it's just a few tweets from, Kanye's run up to the Super Bowl ad. He
Yes.
tweeted, "I am a Nazi."
So you should have known it
And he
wasn't gonna
said,
be good.
"Hitler so fresh." Those are 2
Oh,
tweets leading
nice.
up to the Super Bowl. And look, if you sell an ad to someone who says, "I am a Nazi," literally they tweet out, "I am a Nazi," and then he uses the ad space to push a Nazi fashion line, that's on
Can
you.
we be I
I'm sorry,
mean,
that's on
yeah,
you. That's
I
like if
believe
I
that.
sold an ad to a white guy who used the space to promote KKK t-shirts, and then my boss is like, "Did you vet this guy?" And I go, "Oh shit, let me check his bio," and it's just the N-word 17 times. That's on me. I should have done some due
Yeah, like,
diligence.
you need to be able to, like, get a vibe from somebody. If you're not able to pick up a vibe
Yeah.
or you're willingly ignorant to the vibe, it just is
Yeah.
what it is. I
It is what it
mean,
is.
the damage has
Yeah,
been done. It is scary, though. I mean, I'm not Jewish, um, but I am queer, and, like, people steady kinda hate us, so it is kinda crazy. I don't get it at
yeah.
all. Like,
It's
I don't know. People it's scary out here. I'm concerned.
it's a scary world to live in, and look, the NFL or whoever's responsible should have foreseen this being a possibility. Not this exactly, because obviously you can't predict the future, specifically, but
Mhm.
just like some sort of publicity stunt where in the days leading up to the Super Bowl, Kanye West tweets, "I am a Nazi," and Hitler looking so fresh, because that is like terrible situation, but it is a hilarious apology that the NFL
Yeah.
now has to issue where they go, hey guys, to anyone who may have seen the Kanye West ad, we're sorry that we didn't foresee a guy who tweeted, Hitler looking so fresh, and I'm a Nazi within the last 48 hours, that he would sell something with a swastika on it. So, our bad. Our deepest apologies. Didn't see that coming. Hope you enjoyed the boring game.
Wow.
At least the
Yeah.
game's not rigged.
Yeah.
At least we know that now, because no one would have predicted a blowout of the
Yeah.
Chiefs. So there's one positive from the game.
I don't know. I did. I mean, I picked the Eagles to
Did you
win
put some
for
money on
sure,
it?
but, I did place a bet. My dad beat me by 1 point.
Ah,
And that pisses me off because we were tied. So my dad and I were tied going into like the Super Bowl. So we had to place bets on who the winner was. And then since we both thought that the Eagles would win, we then had to break it down into what we thought the score would be. I was going to win the entire game, but then the Chiefs sucked so fucking bad that the Eagles just kind of like they were celebrating by the
yeah,
third quarter. So then they just started letting the Chiefs like score
yeah,
points, even though it was like the final score was like 40 to 20
yeah.
or some shit like that. But the actual score was like
Yeah, yeah,
36
yeah.
to
It's
3,
like the
like, so I won in my mind, but technically because they had time to score more points, my
yeah,
dad
'cause
ended up
at that
winning.
point, it's the 3rd string defense of Philly who they're just trying to
Yeah.
get the guys in the game to say they played the Super Bowl, and it's still Mahomes and the 1st string offense in trying to make the
Yeah.
score look decent to make a case for their head
Mhm.
coach, staying on or guys staying on. That last touchdown pass that Mahomes threw was against like some guy who's played 2 down.
A
Yeah, literally they were
fan.
like, "Does anyone are there any Eagles fans that want to play cornerback?"
Yeah, seriously,
Yeah.
Bradley
Could you
Cooper.
yeah, can you imagine? They have Bradley Cooper just do a QB sneak.
Yeah, he would die for that, I know that, he seems
Just
like a
just
mega
just to
fan.
run one in.
Um, yeah, it'd be cool to go to a Super Bowl one day. I would love to be a celebrity and get just tickets to go. It'd
You
be
could
so
you could,
nice, so
get married to
nice.
Kanye West, and he'll have you go for free, but you will have to go
That's
naked.
right,
That is
and
his one stipulation.
yeah, well, you know what? It'll really clear up a lot of closet space for me because all my outfits will just be, like,
Yeah.
empty air. So, I won't really have to
Yeah,
hang too much up.
you'll walk into your closet on day 1 being married to Kanye, all your jeans, t-shirt, everything will be gone, and it'll just
Yeah.
be 3 nudes in see-through.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
1
and you
mink
you have to
coat.
do the laundry once every 3 days, maybe once a month actually, because Kanye could be like, "I
Yeah.
love that stank on it, so don't do laundry too often,
Oh,
and you're my
who
slave,
knows
so
what
you
he
have to
likes.
do whatever I say." But
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? Speaking of women that, you know, are just in precarious
yeah,
situations, um, are you like, have you been kind of keeping up? I haven't at all. So we're going to go through this together. But did you hear about the OnlyFans model that allegedly slept with 1,000 men in
I did
24
hear about that.
hours? Wow. That's
Yeah,
all I gotta say. Wow. And you know what? I just out of curiosity, I chat GPT'd because I tried to Google it, but it didn't come up and I needed the numeric breakdown. If you had 24 hours in a day, how much time would you have like with each man? Because I'm like, how can you fit
yeah.
1,000 in one day? So this is with like no breaks or transition. So this is like they are running a train. Like it's like you dip it in, do your thing, and then the next guy is right in line
It's
behind
one of
him.
those trains
Um,
where it just doesn't stop. Have you ever been, like,
no,
in the Midwest, one of those cargo trains where
you
you
gotta
go,
just
"It's
jump
gotta
on.
end in the next 30 seconds," and then the cars still go
No,
by?
it's
It's a
wrapped
it's a
around the block.
19-minute fucking cargo train with 800 cars, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So if in 24 hours divided up in time between 1,000 men, you would have 1.40, so 1 minute and 44 seconds. So about 86 seconds per person. And that's
Yeah.
with like no breaks. So I imagine it was actually less time because you got to stay hydrated or get up, go to the bathroom. I don't fucking know. Like, I want to know more of the logistics. So I did kind of look up a little thing and it's just funny here. So her name is Lily
Mm,
Phillips. And it says, she told the Daily Mail, I want to be the first person to be with 1,000 guys in one day. I'm quite excited,
I bet she
obviously.
is.
It's stressful with all the logistics and things, but it's not daunting. And I imagine it is stressful with all the logistics. I mean, where are you at? The convention
Yeah.
center? I mean, how are you fitting all these
I would
men?
I would think the logistics would be the least stressful part about it because you know roughly what the time is per cock. The most stressful part about it for me would be I need to get railed out by 1,000 cocks. I don't
I think no, she's zen with it. She's wide open to the
literally,
world.
yeah.
Okay, she's so zen. She's just literally probably busted open. Like I'm sure there were some straps to keep her legs up. Like this is like a
So
serious
this changes the
thing.
game for me because I heard about there was another girl who did 100 or 500 on OnlyFans. I forget what it was, and apparently she was trying to one up that girl. Did every guy have to finish for the 1,000? Or
No.
could it just be one
Mm-mm.
stroke and out? Does that count?
You don't have time. You don't have time. So she's also quoted saying, so there was a YouTube documentary that she made in 2024. So definitely look that up, people. But in the documentary, she said, it's not for the weak. If I'm honest, it was hard. I don't know if I'd recommend it. Just one in and one out. It feels intense. I'd have to stop them early and stand on business and say, I'm so sorry, you have to
Mhm.
go, and the awkward interaction of feeling to, like, satisfy them, or the pressure to feel that way, that was the hard part for her. So no, these men, if you couldn't finish in your 86 seconds,
Well,
that's
then
on you, pal.
well,
Get the
then
fuck
you're
out.
just signing up as a guy to be in a secondary room with a bunch of other guys who are finishing themselves off.
Yes.
It's
See,
just
so that's what
800
I was
guys
also
jerking off in a
wondering.
room after fucking Lily Phillips.
In some ways, like, I'm less worried about her mental health and more concerned about the
Yeah.
men. 'Cause I'm just like, she's just chilling. I'm sure just, like, laying down, chilling, getting in that Guinness Book of World Records. These men, like, they're not getting nothing. They're just literally, except to say that they've done this, like, they're just literally showing up and
Yeah.
dipping it in and then, like,
Yeah.
having to go.
See, I'm allergic to it.
That doesn't sound great.
I can't even
Yeah, you're
imagine not
allergic to this
finishing. Yeah.
idea. What a
Yeah,
horrible idea.
look at this fucking just matriarchal bitch just getting to lay
Mhm.
back and get plowed by 100 hardworking or 1,000
Yes.
hardworking men that,
Uh-huh.
aren't able to come. This is just, the matriarchy doing its best to keep the man down. But the men are
Yes.
going, "No, we're gonna finish ourselves off if you won't." And then they're just getting in that second.
Mhm. I'm sure they finished
They
each other
might.
off. I mean, out of
Yeah.
1,000, they say 1 in 5 people are gay.
Is
Or, yeah, that is the stat.
or I thought it was one
So out of 1,000,
out of 1,000, so I guess 200 would be
yeah.
yeah,
Well, and they might not be fully gay. I just mean, like, they're willing
finish another
to
man off with a
play
limb
around. Yes.
or mouth, possibly.
Yes. Yes. So, it's interesting. But then, so everybody's kind of like talking about that. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Then it comes out that she's pregnant now. Who would have
Yeah.
thought?
Well, she just has to
Who
do
would have thought? And
1,000
the
paternity tests.
Yeah, like, who's the father? And then also, like, somebody brought up the point that, like, so birth control has a 99.9%, like,
Yeah.
effective rate. And so it's like, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance that you will get
Yeah.
pregnant. And when you sleep with 1,000 men, you're gonna get
Yeah.
pregnant because you just completed the 1,000. That means 1 out of those 1,000 men. I wonder who it is, and does he get to, like, wear a WWE, like, belt or something?
Yeah,
Like,
like
what does
my
he get for
sperm
being
outwitted
Yes.
999 other sperms trying to make its way to Lily Phillips' ovaries.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of,
Yeah. It is
remarkable.
like an old school primal practice when you think about it, that it was an old school demonstration because I've heard that the reason that penises are kind of curved up when they get hard is because back in the
Okay.
day, there were no monogamous relationships. It was a bunch of guys just, banging out the same lady in the tribe. So
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
you had a straight boner, you can't scoop
Yeah.
out the other guy's semen when you're fucking, but if there's a slight curve to it, that injects yours and then pulls out the other guy. So it was like
Yeah.
a competition who's going to impregnate
Yeah.
the woman. So this is like an OnlyFans tribal reenactment of what it was
It
like to
kinda
be a
is.
woman back in the day, where you're just like, all right, whose sperm's gonna win? It's basically a game show of who's gonna get me pregnant.
Yes. Yes. And I need to make a correction on Miss Lily Phillips because apparently people are confusing two women here. So Lily Phillips actually only slept with
Mm,
100 men, which is way less than 1,000 in 24 hours. Bonnie Blue, the porn star, she was the one who at least attempted the
yeah.
1,000 man. So people kind of blurred the stories
I have to
together.
ask you, is
But yeah,
I
they
have to
need to
ask, is
change that.
Phillips spelled like the normal name spelling, or is it spelled like Fillli, like fill the lips, like
Like
fill
fill
the
up.
lips?
It is spelled in
Okay,
the
so it's at least
traditional
hidden a
way.
little bit.
But on OnlyFans, her OnlyFans username could be there are
Lily fill the
opportunities
lips.
there. Maybe you should
Yeah,
DM
I'll
her.
be that'll be
Yeah.
my next job, director of marketing for Lily fill the lips.
Yes, yes, perhaps. So, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting. I don't know. I can't imagine wanting to sleep with that many people in one day. But everybody has and is entitled to their own
Yeah. I
dreams
you you
and
you
desires. So, you
I
know
would
what?
just
Go off.
be frightened to be around that many blue-balled men in the same room because
Yeah.
I know how crazy I get. Like, I don't know if you've ever if ladies feel like this when they don't come, but guys turn into a werewolf where like,
Yeah.
I've
They're
jerked
not
off
happy.
before, like, when I've gone back and I've been, like, drunk, sometimes on drugs, and I decide, like, I need to come
Gotcha.
to go to sleep, you turn into a
Okay. It
werewolf
happens.
where you're just clutching it so hard, going back and forth, like, you're, like, bending over it, howling at the moon as you're vibrating so hard back and forth.
Yeah.
Just like,
Oh
it
my
doesn't
God.
even be it's not even a pleasure anymore, it's just to get the poison out.
Wow.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine being around 1,000 guys who
No.
are midway through coming after having just been inside a girl who I'm assuming is pretty hot, like, on the surface. Sh prob
Yeah, on the she is
Yeah,
attractive on the surface. I'm also finding out she's only 22 years old, which is very
yeah.
scary to me because her brain is
Well,
not
her
even
pussy
developed.
aged 10 years in one day, for sure,
Yes.
but
I hope everyone was tested because also I honestly think that if you sleep with 100 men in one day, you have 100% chance of getting a
yeah,
STI or STD.
a condom's
Like,
gonna slip
I just
off.
don't
Someone's gonna fucking, like, pull it off and fake it. It gets hard to
I don't yes,
you gotta
and
have a
so many men
referee
have
literally face in the pussy.
STIs and stuff
Yeah.
and don't even know. Yes, yes. So I hope that that was a part of the sign up process was sending in STD results, but anything can happen in
Oh, yeah.
between getting that
I
test done and
if you
dipping
could
it in.
forge a
So,
vaccine card, you could forge an STD test for sure. Get a
yeah.
clean bill of health.
Yeah, which is also just dumb. It's crazy to me to think that somebody would forge an STD test, like, instead of just go and get one and, like, find out
Yeah.
for your own health.
Have have you heard about that startup that they created a service where you can anonymously send a text to someone saying I tested positive for, let's say, chlamydia. We had sex recently, so you should get tested. And it's from a randomly generated number, so it doesn't link back to the person.
Okay. That's okay, I think that's
But
good that that
apparently
exists.
now it's just a bunch of guys playing pranks on their friends saying, like, you have AIDS
Okay,
and you should
come on.
go get tested.
Oh my god. Men just suck, Zach. I can't handle it. You don't take anything
But
serious.
it is a
It's
good
very
prank because
serious.
if I'm back in my, my single slinging days and I got a text saying, "I have gonorrhea,
Yeah.
you should go get tested," I would freak out. I'd be like, "Fuck, I need to go take the pills, I need to go get tested," and then if my friend told me after the fact, I would be extremely angry, but I'd also be like, "That's pretty funny."
If you had gonorrhea, you would know because you'd have a little
That's the
droopy
thing, but
pee-pee with a
appar
little goopy
apparently
coming out.
guys are much more asymptomatic with a lot of STDs.
From a lot of
So you
yes,
could
for a
just be
lot of
chilling
STDs.
with fucking gonorrhea or chlamydia for weeks.
Chlamydia, yeah, I think gonorrhea you'd know, but, like, HPV, chlamydia definitely can spread those
Yeah.
like wildfire. And another thought, this to me, I mean, as much as I'm somebody who's really like to each their own, whatever way you want to make money in life, as long as you're not harming people, is cool with me. In a way, though, like I feel like either consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously, this is like self harm for
Yeah.
her. Like to get boned by 100 men like in one day, that is not a she said it herself. Like it really wasn't like a
Yeah.
pleasurable experience. Like that is
Yeah.
self-harm
How
in a
many
way.
fathers did she not have in order to get plowed by 1,000 guys in a day?
Yeah.
How many men did
Yeah,
she get
yeah.
abandoned by before the age of
Right?
13 where she had to go get plowed by
Yes.
1,000 dudes?
I'm reading a lot of comments that are saying they saw a video or the video of her being interviewed and talking afterwards, and she looked very traumatized by it
Yeah.
all.
She
And
just took a
I am
1,000
not
dicks.
surprised.
Oh, 100.
100. We
Okay,
must stand
100.
corrected.
Someone else took 1,000
That
though.
yes, that was Bonnie. What the fuck's her name? Bonnie Blue, the porn
Hey,
star.
maybe
Shout out.
maybe Bonnie Blue saw Lily Phillips' interview and thought, "Hey, this bitch is traumatized. I gotta show her how to take dicks and do it professionally." And she goes, "I'm gonna take 1,000 cocks." And her post and
I'm
her
gonna up
and
it.
she gives a post game interview like Travis Kelsey after the 2024 Super
Yes.
Bowl, where she's just singing like fucking songs on a stage with fireworks coming down.
Can you even sit? Like, can you sit
Oh
down?
no, you are sitting on a hemorrhoid pillow for sure for the next 6 months on any chair.
It's basically like, yeah, you just gave birth. Like, I mean, not something that big, but like, there was a lot
Yeah,
going on down there. I don't know. I'm scared. I wouldn't want to sleep with 100 people in
yeah.
one day.
I'm a
I don't even know how that's possible. I think that my like vagina would literally and my uterus, like it would just close. It would be like a unhappy
yeah.
clam. Like you couldn't pry this bitch open if you
Well,
fucking
well,
tried, okay?
as
She's
a
clammed
lesbian, are
up.
you thinking actual dicks or strap-ons?
No, I was just thinking any sort
Mm,
of penetration. Like, I mean, an actual dick like is less of a that's just gross. I could find bigger and better
yeah.
strap-ons.
Because I was gonna say
So
you have
I was just
more.
thinking any like fingers. I was just thinking
Because I was gonna say,
penetration in
as a
general.
lesbian, you could specify it to the point where you go
1,000
to
licks
center
to
for
get
Tootsie
to the
Pop.
center of a Tootsie Roll.
That's a good lesbian commercial right there. That could be in the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah.
How many licks does it take to get to the
It's
center of the
me.
pussy?
It's me at the
Yeah.
dentist.
Yeah, you're like, hey
Hey,
guys,
guys.
spent all my money on the
Spent
ad.
all the money.
Just filming on an iPhone again. So if I point this
Yeah.
camera down, oh, let me just reverse the angle. There you go.
Let me change the
And it's just
camera.
the top
There.
of a
I'm
1,000
on my,
heads just lining up to lick your pussy.
my
Yeah.
900th lick.
Yeah, I'm 887 in right now. Still got a few to
Uh,
go.
that's crazy as all hell. That
Yeah.
is funny. That's funny. I don't know how any of that is possible. And I just wouldn't
Yeah.
want to do that all day. Like, why would I want to do that
Yeah.
all day?
That's a lot of saliva and
I hope that she made money from all this.
oh,
Like,
I'm
genuinely
sure
a
she did
good
because
amount.
people are just gonna see that and sign up for her OnlyFans no matter what. It's a publicity stunt.
Yeah. Good. 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 And good, but at what cost? Um,
Yeah.
I guess a baby and trauma.
Yeah.
And the trauma that she will inevitably pass down to her
Yeah.
baby. Oh, it's beautiful.
And a
It's all
pussy
full
that
circle.
never quite feels unsore. She's always gonna have it's like, almost, like a retired athlete where your back's never the same again, no matter how many stretches you do or painkillers you take. There's always that deep, deep
Mm,
ache in the place that bothered you during your playing career. She's gonna have that
yeah,
in her pussy. It's just gonna be a
yeah.
lingering, like, ever since that day, dicks just hit different, and not in a good way.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, dating her in the future? It's like, you've got the shadow of so many dicks that you have to try
Yeah.
to be bigger
I'm just
than, you know?
imagining her going on a date with some guy in the future because 'cause I'm just assuming she's single because you can't there's no way someone
I
would
mean, I would
do this in a
assume.
relationship, but who knows? I mean, it's 2025. I'm just assuming, like, some guy they match on Raya and she sits down at the first date. She looks, put together. She's not like an obvious
Mm,
porn star look. And they're talking
yes,
about body count. It gets like the second or third date, and it's like that cute conversation where you're like, "So how many people have you?" And she goes, it's probably more than you think." And the guy's always like, "It can't be that high," because in their head, they're like, whatever the girl
yeah,
says, mine is like 5 times higher. And the guy's
right.
like, "Oh," the guy
He's
the
like,
guy's
"No."
thinking like, "There's no way it's higher than mine." He has like 75, 76. He's thinking.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, 1,462." Yeah.
14,000.
Yeah, and the guy's like,
Um,
"What the fuck?" And
yeah.
she's like, "Well, 1,000 of those were in one
One
day.
day,
So it's really
actually.
462 spread over 5 years."
If you cancel
If you
that
cancel
one
that for one
day,
day, I'm still at 462, but if you include that day, it's
yeah,
1,462
yeah. Real question, because this actually came up,
when you were on a date.
no,
Some girl was
it
like,
came
"Yeah,
up
it's only like
last week.
1,300."
I don't even remember what sparked this conversation, but I was with, a couple of my girlfriends, and it just came up. Like, what's the body count that you like, genuinely, I guess we all do kind of have, like, I've never really asked a girl her body count. I don't think it's really any of my business until they wanna divulge that information, but you can kinda get a gist of, like, if somebody's the type of person to only sleep with a couple people or if somebody is a little bit more promiscuous or whatever. But what would you say is your number where you'd be like, "Okay, that is actually kind of a no-go for me," or like, "You know what? That is a little bit concerning."
So
If a girl told you, what would the range be? Or like, what number and up would be like, "Okay, maybe you're not
so
right for
if
me."
I well, let me give a little advice to the ladies here for a second because
Oh,
I'll
great.
give
Just
it
what we want.
I'll tell you how to communicate with a man because I've been in these situations before. I've had these conversations before. If you're a girl with a higher body count, and I'm talking like
Yeah, what's considered
like
high
30
for you?
plus,
Okay.
delay the conversation as long as you can because
Yeah.
a guy cares more about body count, but in a drastic manner the earlier it is in the relationship. So I'm talking first 3 dates. If I find out a girl has a
Yeah.
higher body count, that will
Mhm.
drastically change the way that I think about her, and there will be a much lower
Okay.
percentage chance of me wanting to continue. However,
Now, is that because you feel insecure or you're just turned off by somebody that would hook up with a bunch of
I will
different
say
people?
I'm more lenient than a lot of other guys I've talked
Yeah,
to where I'd still be
I think I
willing
am
to
too. I'm a pretty
entertain
lenient person.
someone who
Yeah,
has, 50 bodies in the first 3 dates.
yeah,
But if you date a guy for, let's say, 3 weeks, a month or 2, and he likes you, the body count thing really doesn't matter. Unless it's an absurd amount, I'm not gonna stop dating someone because of a body count. And I
Mhm.
think most guys are like that. But if you find out
Mhm.
very early on, like first, second, third date, that could plant a seed in a guy's mind where he goes like, I just can't get past that. But if you
Yeah.
waited another few weeks or a
Yeah.
month, you it's not gonna matter. And I also think that's
Yeah.
proportional to how many people the guy has slept with. Because I'll just be
Mm.
honest, like, my number is somewhere in the 60s. So,
Wow, Zachary. Oh
I'm no
my
Lily Phillips.
goodness
I'm no Lily Phillips or
gracious.
Bonnie Blue, but,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can't
I
quite
got
keep
after
up,
it.
so
So for me, for a bit,
I've been
you know,
around.
I was wilding out in my, my single days. I had a great time, and
Good for you.
to me, like, half of that, when it starts to get 30 plus, then like, an alarm goes off in my head where, like, that's kind of a lot. It doesn't prevent me from, like, seeing someone, or, like, I never had a
Mhm.
hard cutoff, but if someone was, like,
Yeah.
30, 40, 50, I was like, "Oh, it's getting up there," because I know how much of a slut I was, and then if someone reciprocates that, I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I mean, I know what you were doing because I was doing the same shit."
Yeah.
But if a guy slept with like 10 girls, 5 could be a lot to him, or 10, like, if it matches his.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of an example of that though, where I've not slept with more than 10 people and but I don't ask that question honestly, and I really don't
Yeah,
want to know. You know, like I could go my own
yeah,
relationship and never know. I feel like I do typically it does come out in a relationship at some point. Like my last partner and I ended up kind of being on the same exact wavelength with number. And so it was just like, okay, like whatever. But I wouldn't
yeah,
really have cared. I don't think to me the less I know the
yeah.
better. Like I don't
I
care.
would say
Honestly, if you've slept with 50 people as a woman, but I do feel like it's not quite as
I would say
common.
then that
So,
makes you the more masculine presence in the relationship, because in a straight relationship, or at least the ones that I've been in where I'm, you know, seeing someone for long enough where they would ask, I never ask, and it's always the girl that brings up,
yeah.
like, she's like, "So how many people have
Yes.
you?" So I've never
Mm,
once been
okay.
like, "Let's have this conversation," because in my mind, I'm like, "I don't wanna know."
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah, I
her
don't wanna
being like, "So
know.
how many,
'Cause
like, people have
I
you?"
will
Yeah.
care, and if I find out I do think I might care if I find out and that you've hooked up with, like, 30 plus people. I can see how that is
Yeah.
feasible. I mean, easily. I'm sure I have friends that are girls that have definitely slept with
Yeah.
at least 30 people. Um, and I don't judge them at all
Yeah.
for that. I think that's honestly, like, pretty normal. But for me, yeah, I think might care, and not in a sense that I'm like, "Ooh, you're a hoe," but just like, okay, we fundamentally are kind
Yeah.
of different in a way that, like, we just disconnect in a little bit
Yeah.
of a way there. So maybe I just don't wanna know because who you were when you were 21, when you slept with 30 dudes in 1 year, because I have friends that are like that, where they
Yeah.
had, like, 1 year where they were just, like, crazy town, and then, like, they've been
I was gonna
chill ever
say,
since.
like, I think people that haven't slept with a lot of people, they hear a high number and they go, "Holy shit, that's 1 a month
Yeah.
since you were fucking 19 years old." But
Yeah. But it
in
actually happens
reality, it
quick.
happens in clusters. There'll be, like, if
Yes.
I'm thinking back on my own past, yeah,
A month.
there's, like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
look back at a month and you're like, "Holy shit." Like, I
Yeah,
need to
yeah, yeah,
slow
yeah.
down. And that happens a few months
Yeah.
in a row, and you're like, "Damn, like, that was a lot," or you have a year or 2,
Yeah.
and then, for 4 years, you
It's
sleep with,
it's interesting.
30 people in 2 years, and then the next 5
Yeah.
years, you sleep with 2. So, like, it depends,
Yeah,
yeah.
it does happen that way. My one friend so these 2 friends are sisters, so it was also interesting to hear their totally different perspectives. Um, the oldest sister they're like a year apart, so same age basically, but the oldest sister was very much like more than 10 would be an
Mm,
immediate no. Like, if a man has slept with more than 10 women, like, absolutely not. She considered even 10 to be, like, a lot. And I didn't ask her specifically, but I could probably assume she's probably not slept with more than maybe 3 or
yeah,
4 guys. I mean, I know for sure she's had 2 long-term boyfriends, so in theory, it could just be those 2. I don't know. But then her younger sister, who's a Libra like me, we were both very much like, "Meh, like, it doesn't really matter." Like, 30 plus might give us a little bit of we might
yeah,
take a pause at that. But, like, 10, that's like, cause she was like, "I don't even know how you could sleep with 10 people." I was like,
yeah.
"I do." I was like, "It literally,
Yeah, I
like,
could show you.
happens
You wanna see?
fast." I mean,
I could take some videos.
cause and I told her, I was like, "Honestly, like, out of all the people I've slept with, I've never slept with a stranger. I've never had a one night stand. Everybody I've slept with has been somebody I was actively dating or in a relationship with, or they were, like, my friend, and we just decided to hook up." And so I was like, "Honestly, it's not even that promiscuous of a thing. It's just that I've been alive and
Yeah,
sexually active for over a
yeah,
decade now. So it
yeah,
happens."
and I'll go back to my point, which is, as a guy, I would never stop dating someone that I really liked because of a number. The longer you
Yeah, same.
continue, the less it matters. So my
Yeah.
advice to the ladies out there that do have a higher body count is just don't ask the guy because they're probably not going to ask you. And if you're
You're not gonna like what he has to say
probably
either.
not, and
There's a
and
good chance.
if you care about that guy, then if he wants to ask you, he'll ask you. If not, then don't say anything, shut your mouth, and then, 6 months later, if he says, "I love you," just, shut the fuck up and say it back, and, if y after that point, it's like, "Alright, well, if you wanna tell him now, you could tell him. He's not gonna you're not gonna, like, break off a loving relationship because
Mhm.
of a number." I can't
Yeah.
speak for
I think
1,000
what
because I've
ladies
never encountered someone
Yeah.
where she's like, "Oh, yeah, I just broke off a quick thou the other week." I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah. No,
god."
I've never encountered that either. I what the hell was I gonna say on it? What was I what did you just fucking hell.
I was just saying,
Well,
del if
there
you're
it
a
went.
girl, the guy's probably not gonna ask, so don't bring it up.
Oh,
Don't
I
bring
was
it up.
gonna say, yes, that and ladies out there, lady to lady, ladies that are dating men, I think it is more important for instead of asking their body count, if you're taking a man seriously and you are concerned about their past, the better thing is to ask for an STD test before you sleep with them, because then it doesn't even matter to me who or how many people they've slept with. If they are coming in clean and ready to go and we're vibing, that's cool. That's really the
Yeah.
important part.
Yeah, ask him, for a quick, get a little test.
Just get a little
Yeah.
blood drawn or something. It's really also men, it is not got to be a dick swab. Get your blood drawn, you little baby bitch.
I've
Okay?
never had a swab inside my penis by a doctor.
I'm Yeah, where did I just hear? I just heard that someone had it was a podcast I think I was listening to, and the guy usually when you have to get dick swabbed, most men don't want to do it themselves because it's a
Mm,
scary thing. So they're like, "Let the doctor do it, let me look away, and let me pray to just fast forward 30 minutes or whatever when I'm walking the fuck out of here." But the guy, he was like so chill with himself and medical things that he was like, "Ah, I'll just swab my own dick." So he did. And I was like, now that's a
how
man
far
right
up
there, willing to swab his
how
own
far up does
dick.
it have to go, though? Because are we talking COVID test where
Not
it's
far.
going fucking into your dick brain
No, I
or
don't think so. I
okay.
don't think so. I think just like typical cotton swab in the tip, a little doop, little loopy loop
Yeah.
around the lid,
Every time
and that's that.
I've gotten an STD test, it's always been thrown in with my checkup blood
Yeah.
test. They go, "We're checking
Yes.
for
And
this.
how
Do you
easy
want
is
us to do
that?
this?"
And they'll
Yeah.
usually ask. and say yes because there's no
So
reason not
so
to.
the last time I had my physical, which was probably after the last episode we recorded a few months ago because we haven't talking about this, but I went to the doctor for my checkup, and the guy goes, "Do you want an STD test?" And I go, I'm married. I've been with the same girl for 4 years. I don't need it."
You
And then
still
he
will check
says,
your
"All
check.
right." And then he
You should
pauses
still
and he
check.
goes, "Are you sure?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he goes, "You'd be surprised how many married guys come in here and get STD tests, and women too." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "Yeah, it's a lot.
Well,
It's a
HPV
lot."
is like a HPV is like a serious thing. I know straight couples that were monogamous with each other the entirety of their relationship, still together. But one of them must have had it
Yeah.
before they came into the relationship, unbeknownst to them, and they just passed it back and forth to each other for like a year or more, and that is so dangerous for the
So
woman.
apparently
So,
I asked the doctor about this, and he said that there's no reliable HPV test for men, only for women, but the guys can get the HPV vaccine, the Gardasil, which
yes,
I already
yeah.
have. So, you
Aw,
know,
good job, Zach. You're a
and
good man. A
honestly,
good
no, you know what the
man,
reason is? My
Savannah.
mom, when I was in college, sent me an article about Michael Douglas, the actor, who said he
Okay.
got throat
All right.
cancer from eating pussy, and that comes from the HPV virus, and I thought, "Not on my watch," and I immediately went to go get the Gardasil
Absolutely
vaccine because I
not.
was like, "I'm not gonna stop eating pussy."
I love that. I love that. That's beautiful. And I'm happy that you did that. And now, Julie can rest easy knowing that it is highly unlikely you will ever give her HPV that causes cervical cancer.
Yeah.
That is great. Get your Gardasil shots, men
Yeah.
and ladies. I got mine. I got mine when I was like 12. I got mine. I was like the guinea pig for that shit. As soon as they came out, my dad said, I know what this little hoe's gonna do
Yeah,
in the
he saw that
future.
tongue. He saw that
Better
tongue
get
and thought,
that
"That tongue's
shot
gonna
in
work.
there.
Let me fucking
He said, this one's a
put those
little too
shots on
like
my
me.
baby."
So she's gonna need to get those booked as
Oh,
soon as
yeah.
possible.
Oh, yeah. She's not getting a hole in her throat from eating pussy. She's gonna get that shot right away.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So yeah, but I have had HPV even after those
Yeah.
exams or those what the fuck injections. So you can still get it
Apparent
and yeah, you got
apparently,
to be careful.
the injection prevents because there's a bunch of different strains of
The
HPV.
really
The
yeah,
ones that cause there's
they
like 5
prevent
or
the
6
ones
different
that
ones.
cause
Yeah.
cancer.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
It still
no.
sucks having HPV though as a woman because I had it for well over a year because it takes a long time to shed like the virus of it. So you have to keep going back to the doctor every 6 months until it's gone and get pap smears, which are really uncomfortable because they're deep in there digging
Oh, yeah.
around.
And then the guy
And
leaves and he's like,
then
"I'm not even a doctor. I'm just some guy in the waiting room."
thank God
Yeah.
mine is a woman because I
Sorry, I'm just
wouldn't
digging
even let
around
a
in there.
man
Yeah.
look at me like that. But yeah, so it is uncomfortable. And then, God forbid, if you keep going and getting pap smears and it keeps not looking any better, then you have to get like a fucking colposcopy, which is like they literally punch out a piece of your
Mm.
cervix. And that's really painful. So take this shit
Yeah.
seriously, people. Get
Are
checked for
are
STDs.
male s
Our final
are straight
message
male gynecologists sus? If a guy if
to
a guy's
me,
straight and is
yes.
just looking at because I feel like you can't I get that you're looking at a lot of different vaginas where not everyone's gonna be attractive to you, but
Yeah.
statistically, if you're seeing 15 to 20 pussies a day, at least a couple of those you're gonna look at and be
I think
like,
it's weird.
"This
I
is
don't
getting me
think
going
men
right
should
now."
be gynecologists. I'm a hard take. I do not think men should be gynecologists. I do I do
What if you
believe
eat a lot
that
of
a lot of
pussy
these
and you're also analytical about it, where you're looking and you're telling the girl like, "Hey, you may wanna
it's
get this checked out. I noticed I"
there are proper doctors. There are some good ones out there.
What if
I believe that. I know men that are going to
yeah,
school for that are good guys, but I personally would never, ever have a male
yeah.
gynecologist. It's
What
just
if
not
I'm a man?
happening.
What if I'm a man? I am a man,
What
and
if?
I'm not
In
sure what I'm
theory.
gonna major in college, and I'm eating a pussy.
Mhm.
I'm eating someone's pussy,
You get so
and I
inspired.
go, "Oh my god, I think I felt something," and then it ends up she found an early diagnosis for cancer because I felt a cyst with my tongue,
You're
and I
never
go,
gonna feel
I'm
that.
gonna be a
You
ty
can't get your tongue
I'm
in
gonna
there
become a
that far.
gynecologist because my tongue detected cancer in a woman, and then I am a gynecologist.
You
I
have to
have to
use your
use my
tongue
tongue,
every
yeah.
now yeah, you're like, "You know what? I
And
have
I'm
to use
like,
my
"Hey,
tongue every
look,
time. It's the
I
only
know I'm
way."
non-traditional." A lot of gynecologists, they use tools, they use their hands. I'm telling you, back in school, I found cancer with my tongue. I'm gonna have to get in there deep.
You just come in and you're doing, like, tongue
Tongue
exercises
stretches.
first. When doctors are, like, putting on gloves, you're there like,
Yeah, final yeah, exactly. Just like people stretch out before they do the 6-yard dash, I'm getting the tongue ready, trying to extend as far as possible. Yeah,
exercises,
yeah.
exercises. Yeah, that's scary. I just personally don't feel comfortable with men down there, but I do have some girlfriends that go and their doctor's a male gynecologist. I personally don't think their doctor's a good doctor from what I've heard. Not because he's weird and sexual, just because I also know that a lot of men, especially older men, don't care. Like I just genuinely think they don't really care or understand the ins and outs of all the parts that are down there.
Yeah. Or they
Um,
care too much. Where they go,
yeah, and I
"Oh,
don't
it's the"
like either side of that
Yeah.
spectrum. As a doctor, I want you to be
Yeah.
firmly in the middle.
Yeah.
And I will say though, I do really like my gynecologist, and I did make sure that it was a beautiful woman or a woman that I felt like comfortable with
You
and
don't
really
want an
liked her
ugly
vibe.
bitch putting her hands in your pussy. That's important.
No, no, I'll tense up. You're
Yeah.
not getting
You
in
wanna be
there.
relaxed.
I'll
Yeah,
lock up.
you want, like, something's not gonna happen sexually, but in your head, if something did,
I
it
need to at
wouldn't be
least be
traumatic.
relaxed.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, like
yes. I mean, technically, she's been
yeah,
inside of me. Like, she's been in there, and that
that's true.
counts for something. It doesn't feel sexual at all. And it's not, but I needed a lady that I was like,
Do you include
"Okay,
gynecologists in your body
I'm
count?
not." No,
Okay.
I don't. But, I mean, in
They've been
theory,
inside you with
I
tools.
she
Yeah.
did penetrate me, yes, and just with
Yeah.
fingers. They go in with the tools to open you up so then they can, like, do a pap smear, but then they'll also just hit you with the two-finger move and then press down on, like, the top because 'cause they're feeling they need to, like, I don't know what exact that
Yeah.
might have just been a special little move she wanted to do to me for fun.
Is it ever
Um
like, have you ever had a moment where you're like, "That kinda feels good," or is it always
No, it's always very uncomfortable and I'm always like tense. In the same way that I'm like when you get a tattoo, it's like not you're not in like extreme pain, but you're not
Yeah.
comfortable and you're kind of just sitting there like, okay, and trying to keep your mind occupied on something else. It's definitely that type of experience. So even though she's beautiful and very smart, there's just something very unsexy about wearing an oversized napkin, uh, and being literally saddled up in
Yeah.
fluorescent lighting.
Well,
So, and lubed up too. I mean, the amount of lube that I come out of there with,
oh, yeah.
whoa, I'm slipping and
Yeah,
sliding
well,
out
I
of
guess
there.
it's better that you're wearing the napkin and not her because you'd be like, "What, are you getting ready to eat something?" Or why do you keep dabbing your lips before you go down there?"
Doc, like, just
Yeah,
you got my number. Like, I didn't have to come into the
yeah,
office for that, okay? Next time, let's go somewhere a
yeah.
little more romantic.
So, final thoughts on breaking takes. Are there any words you'd like to leave the listeners with as we end
Oh,
off
wow.
on this
Yeah,
version of the show?
yeah. You know what? I am typically pretty silly, but in all seriousness, I feel so happy to have done this podcast. For a long time growing up, I wanted to like do a podcast and I went on radio, and honestly when I was on radio, I was extremely anxious. I was not medicated.
Yeah.
Had not been to therapy and had not discovered Lexapro yet. So I
No
was
one was
very
roofing your drinks
anxious.
with, anxiety medication at that point. Yeah.
No, no, and that's really what I needed, and so then, my life kinda started to change with that, and I got more confident, but I wanted to do a podcast, and I was just still nervous. So much of starting a podcast, like, the hardest part is just starting it because you're so nervous about, like, am I even capable of this? Like, am I funny? Are people gonna listen? Are people gonna like it? Like, how is this gonna look and turn out? And so for so long, it was, like, on my mind, like, I wanna do this thing, but I was just kinda too scared and too intimidated to do it. So when I had seen your ad all these couple years ago or whatever in, the podcasting kinda article that we both follow, I don't actually know what possessed me to do it. But I just kind of just was like, "I'm gonna just try it," and be, like, over
Yeah.
being scared, like so I sent in kind of that little audition, just being happy that I did that, you know? Um, so to kind of be here now and have done the podcast and formed a genuine friendship with you and, like, a good work partner too, it's pretty incredible, like, I really sit here now and I'm just genuinely so proud of, like, what we've accomplished and the work that we did, and proud of myself for not being a scared little
Yeah.
bitch and getting on a microphone and being okay with not always saying the right thing and having people chew us up on TikTok, and also having really
Yeah.
great moments with listeners and comments and feedback and stuff. So, yeah, it's been a really great journey, and I definitely will not ever stop podcasting or being in media.
As you
So,
shouldn't.
I'll
Yeah.
be around, absolutely. So I just sometimes in life, you gotta just put your head down for a little
Yes.
bit and hustle, and that's kinda where I'm at in life. I need to hustle, I need to make a lot of money, and just focus for a little bit before I get back into
Yes.
the pod game. So that's where I'm at, and I'm just so
I
happy
I
with
I
everything we
echo those
accomplished.
sentiments 120%. These last 60, 61 episodes have been an absolute fucking blast. I could not imagine
Totally.
it going a different direction. I'm so glad we linked up, not only as co-hosts, but as friends. We've
Yeah.
done this show will live on in the form of clips in the full
Yes.
episodes for anyone listening to this whenever you started listening, whether it was from the first episode or this episode, there are over, 75 hours of whatever it is of breaking takes. And uh it was a moment in time that will live on in the digital world.
Yeah. It will. That
And
digital footprint does
and it
not
and
go
and
away.
and it does not go away, and I will say absolutely for the better, because there are
Yeah.
th there's so much pressure to just go with whatever's gonna get the most views or monetize,
Mhm.
and, like, talk about things that are not necessarily controversial or won't be deducted by the algorithm, and every week, I feel like whatever story we felt like was the funniest, regardless of what it was talking about, we stuck to our guns and said we if we saw
Mhm.
a headline, we were like, we have to fucking talk about this. This is there's
Yep.
no way I can't bring this story up, and we both brought that every
Yeah.
single week. And I hope it showed in the podcast that our sense of humors are what it is,
Mhm.
regardless of what what it was gonna do with views or whatever. Like, we genuinely had a blast talking about
Yeah.
the shit that we thought that was funny.
Stick to your guns.
And yeah, it will live on in the digital sphere,
Yeah.
and follow
Mhm.
Sam wherever she goes in the podcast world, because I will definitely be excited for whatever
Yes.
comes in the future, whether it's as a producer or a host or both. You are an
Yep.
exceptional co-host
Thank
and
you.
producer, and keep up with everything that Sam does, because
Thank you.
she's killing it, and she will be
Wow.
on the Mount Rushmore of podcasting for our time.
I think so. We will be
Yeah.
etched in there, and I think it'll be beautiful. And also, life is a long journey, I hope. So, I intend to go to New York City again in
Yes.
my life, and that's where you are. We
A
will see
hundred
each other
percent.
again, and we'll definitely, I'm sure, just knowing us and our desire to yap, we'll probably be on a live microphone at some point when we see each
Yes.
other next. So, yeah, we'll definitely be around, and it'll be fun just to see what happens
Yes.
in the future.
There will be, future snowboarding trips. There will be future gynecology catch-ups. There will be just
Yeah,
all
really important.
things happening. And again, I am truly grateful for uh secondarily the show, and primarily the
Yeah,
friendship that we've been able to
totally.
come together and talk about for the last 20 months or whatever it's been a
Yeah.
fucking
You're my real
ride.
friend. It's beautiful. I'm just
Yes.
so happy. So yeah, no tears will be shed,
No.
but
And if I do shed a
yeah,
tear, it
I'm
will go
happy to be
directly into
here.
my whiskey shot glass mixed with alcohol, and then I'll shoot it back
Yeah.
into my body immediately, because
Uh-huh.
that's what type of show this is.
Yeah,
No.
exactly right. We do whatever
All
the
right.
fuck we want.
And we'll
But it's been real, guys. So thank you so much for listening to Breaking Takes
thank
with
you for
Zach and
listening to
Sam.
Breaking Takes, and we'll see you guys next time, whenever that is, in whatever form. But
That's
as of
right.
now, we're signing off.
Signing off.
Peace.
All right. Cheers.